You haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Subscribe now. We have news stories every day. Now let's go. Ethan drove his SUV up the tree-lined suburban road of Maple Grove, a peaceful neighborhood in Connecticut. He just finished work earlier than usual, a rarity in his busy career as a financial consultant. As he turned onto his street, he noticed his wife Sophie's black sedan was gone. She had told him she'd be away at a real estate conference in Boston for the week, hunting down prospective luxury properties. He had even helped her pack, wishing her luck and kissing her goodbye. Ethan, thinking aloud, guess she left some days earlier. Strange. Yet none of that explained why her car was missing on a Wednesday. He shrugged, relieved at the unexpected chance to relax in a silent house. Maybe he'd grill a steak or watch a game. Inside, he grabbed a cold beer from the fridge. But as he passed by the master bedroom, something unusual drew his attention. The bed was unmade. A scattering of rose petals or some potpourri. A faint smell of scented candles lingered, though no candle now burned. Ethan, confused, when did she put candles out? And why? He ventured closer, noticing a small bottle of lubricant lying near the pillow, not a brand they ever used. His stomach churned. That alone would be suspicious, but it could still be rationalized. Maybe she tried something new by herself. He shook his head, unsettled. Then, as he bent to pick up a fallen pillow, a wallet came into view, half wedged between the bed and the wall. Cautiously, he picked it up. The worn brown leather was scuffed. Definitely not his. Inside were IDs, cash, and Kyle Reed's driver's license, a neighbor from a few streets away, also married with 2 kids. Ethan, heart pounding, Kyle Reed, what the? A sudden, brutal realization slammed into him. Sophie was cheating and doing it right here in their bedroom. Another man, a neighbor. The shock coursed through him like ice. For a moment, he just stood there, breathing in shallow bursts. He sank onto the unmade bed, wallet in hand, mind spinning with questions. Why hadn't he noticed anything? They'd argued more lately, Sophie claiming she was tired, complaining about life after the pandemic closeness. He had assumed a tropical vacation might fix things, that she just needed space. The actual reality was so much harsher. Ethan's natural reaction might have been to confront Sophie on the spot, but a cold, methodical side of him emerged. Anger roiled inside, but so did a relentless logic. He wanted proof, undeniable, explicit proof of the affair. Then he'd decide how to handle it. Ethan whispering, "I'll get everything," and then watch them burn. He grabbed his laptop, ordering a few small hidden cameras online. He had some knowledge of security tech from side work, so he could install them quickly. He also wiped all signs of his presence from the bedroom, returning the wallet to where he found it, carefully making sure it would remain overlooked. That evening, he quietly placed cameras in the bedroom corners, disguised as decorative items, adjusting angles so any activity on the bed would be fully captured. His emotions churned. Disgust, heartbreak, but also a sense of grim purpose. Ethan, to himself, this is insane, but I need that evidence. He felt sick, yet it was a sickness overshadowed by the fierce desire for vengeance. Days passed. Sophie returned one afternoon claiming she left the conference early due to a scheduling mix-up. She offered Ethan a casual hug and a bright smile, acting like nothing was wrong. He forced normalcy, pretending he was just relieved to see her. Inside, he noted every suspicious detail, how she typed furiously on her phone in corners, how she murmured phone calls to clients, how she arranged to meet girlfriends. He installed a small phone tracking app on her device while she slept, just in case. He waited, watching the newly installed camera feeds through an app on his laptop. The first day, nothing. Second day, she spent hours out, but no sign of any visitor. But on the third day, Ethan watched in numb horror as Sophie welcomed Kyle Reed into the house, leading him directly upstairs. Ethan, quietly to himself, this is actually happening. He could watch the entire betrayal unfold, but he found that unbearable. Satisfied enough with the knowledge and glimpses, he closed the feed. It was all he needed. The cold, righteous fury coursed through him again. Over the next few weeks, it became a pattern. Kyle sneaking in, Sophie leading him up, the two acting like a couple of newlyweds in Nathan's marital bed. The timestamp spanned months. The affair had been going on for 2 years at least. With heartbreak, he stored the videos on multiple encrypted drives. He felt no need to watch them in detail. The existence alone was enough proof. As Ethan continued gathering evidence, he realized a direct confrontation might lead to a messy he said, she said scenario. But if he sent the evidence to Kyle's wife, Lauren Reed, the blowback would be devastating for them, not Ethan. He found Lauren's phone number in the local directory. The idea formed. He'd forward her a package containing the recordings, let her see exactly what her husband had done. Ethan, to himself, she deserves to know, and it'll blow up their smug little game. He arranged a courier. The night before sending it off, he wrote an anonymous note explaining that Kyle's affair with Sophie spanned 2 years, that the enclosed flash drive had the proof. Then he dispatched the courier, instructing them to deliver it only to Lauren. He'd also prepared his own exit plan. Once the scandal erupted, he didn't want the fallout to trap him in the house. He took a leave from work, citing family emergencies, packed suitcases for himself and their child, Lily, and quietly made arrangements to stay at his parents' place in Vermont. The next day, Ethan waited, heart thudding. He saw missed calls from Sophie from unknown numbers, presumably Lauren. He turned his phone on silent. That evening, the phone buzzed nonstop. He ignored it all. He loaded Lily and their luggage into the car. Lily, confused, Daddy, where's Mom? Where are we going? Ethan, forcing a soft tone. We're visiting Grandma and Grandpa for a bit, honey. Mom's busy right now. His chest ached. Lily was clueless about the adult betrayal swirling around her, but Ethan refused to let her become collateral damage in the blow-up. He left a brief note at home stating that Lily was safe with grandparents. Then he locked the door. For the final time, he told himself. He drove north. Once settled in the warm embrace of his parents' farmhouse, Ethan turned on his phone. Over 30 missed calls, plus frantic texts from Sophie. Ethan, I can explain everything. Please pick up. How could you do this? You destroyed me, you monster. You have to talk to me about Lily. Come back. He scoffed. She was the one who destroyed everything, not him. The neighbor's wife, Lauren, also texted. I got your package. I can't believe this. Kyle is. We'll talk soon. Thank you for telling me. Ethan powered off the phone again, exhausted. He stared at the Vermont sunset, colors streaking the sky. The heartbreak threatened to consume him, but the adrenaline of vengeance kept him afloat. Over the next days, he avoided all calls. He let Sophie and Kyle stew in their self-made chaos. A week later, calmer, Ethan returned to the suburban house alone. Lily stayed with grandparents. He found the place in disarray, suggesting Sophie had come by but left in a hurry. He gathered any remaining personal items, scanned through the room. Strangely, he felt nothing but relief, like a weight lifting off his chest. This was no longer home. It was a place of betrayal. He contacted a lawyer recommended by a friend. The lawyer listened grimly, nodding at the mention of conclusive video evidence. This should give us an unassailable case for a divorce in your favor, they said. So began the cold, methodical process. Sophie's frantic attempts to reconcile or explain fell on deaf ears. She claimed she still loved him, that the affair was just a spark she needed. Ethan refused to engage. The legal route was enough. He discovered that Kyle's marriage with Lauren had imploded courtesy of the evidence. Kyle was kicked out of his own house, enduring the scorn of neighbors. Meanwhile, Sophie's family found out. Her parents, humiliated, demanded an explanation. She was left isolated, frantically texting Ethan to stop ignoring her. Sophie, in a text, please, I made a mistake. Let's fix this. Think of Lily. But Ethan couldn't trust her again. He met her only once with lawyers present, finalizing custody for Lily. The judge granted him primary custody, given the circumstances. He offered no drama, no emotional outburst, just the file of videos and proof of her 2-year deception. She tried to claim entrapment, but the lawyer's meticulous approach left no doubt. In the end, she left with little more than personal possessions, facing a lifetime of regret. With the divorce settled, Ethan walked out of the courthouse, breathing in the crisp Connecticut air. The betrayal still stung, but the path forward was finally clear. Ethan eventually sold the suburban house, investing the proceeds in a smaller condo near his parents, wanting to keep Lily close to family. Lily, mercifully young enough, adapted well, happier away from the tension. In time, Ethan found peace. Maybe he'd even open his heart again. The memory of those 2 years of lies would always scar him, but it also strengthened his resolve never to ignore red flags. Some nights he still felt anger twisting in his gut, remembering how Sophie used their bed, their sanctuary, for her affair. But mostly he felt relief, no more illusions, no more pretending. He visited Lily at his parents' often, cherishing their father-daughter weekends. Meanwhile, Sophie, as rumors had it, struggled to rebuild her life. Kyle's marriage was finished, and he, too, bore the shame of the neighborly scandal. Both tried to save face, but their reputations remained tarnished. Ethan saw no need to boast about his revenge. He returned to his financial consulting job, providing for Lily, focusing on the future. In unguarded moments, he remembered how heartbreak had driven him to methods he never thought he'd use: secret cameras and orchestrated exposure. Yet he felt no remorse. He'd do anything to protect himself and Lily from further deceit. One evening, watching a golden sunset in Vermont, Ethan let out a final sigh of relief. The silent, hollow betrayal was behind him now, its echoes fading. He might not have a perfect life, but he had honesty and peace and a child who adored him. That, he realized, was all he truly needed.